everybody, this is Matthew from Nerd News Today here at Toy Fair 2023 behind the camera, and joining us now at the EPI booth is Dr. Lisa. Dr. Lisa, how are you today?
I am doing very well. How are you?
We're doing awesome. So we are here to take a look at some of your many dolls today. We've taken a look at some of them on the channel recently. We have reviews, in fact, of the Fresh Squad and the Wakanda Forever dolls, but Dr. Lisa, I know you said there's some behind the scenes stories you're going to get about them.
I did behind the scenes about every one of them. So let me start here with Shuri. So when you look at Shuri, her outfit is perhaps the simplest in terms of intricacy and design, but it is really not, because she literally has pockets that work.
Oh, we love the pockets.
Yes, and so all of this is cool, but the hardest thing for her was her hair. I'm gonna take her down so you can see. It was important. According to Marvel, she had to have 3 locks of curls that came into her forehead. Just 3 distinctive locks or 3 distinctive curls. Do you know how hard that is just to get 3 perfectly defined curls? And then her hair itself, very short. We ended up having to do and redo because initially it turned out like a mohawk, but it wasn't an attractive mohawk at all. It was like, it was bad.
Yeah.
So we worked very hard to get this. This was actually a very difficult hairstyle to achieve. And then Okoye, not only did her outfit require precise detail and intricacy from the detail on her warrior belt and even the material. And then look at these beads. That all was very intricate. But the hardest thing to do on her, believe it or not, was not her face, even though that was a challenge, only in the sense that we wanted it to be exactly like the actor. What was really incredibly difficult was her forehead. If you look at the tattoo, you're like, oh, that's not too hard. Well, you know what I'll say to that is, anything that looks easy isn't always easy. As a matter of fact, my team was so good, they made it look easy. But this was very difficult. Because usually when you're doing a tattoo, even if it's very intricate, it's on a flat surface. So it's easy, you just stamp it. If you notice, this is a curved surface. So to get all of them to be equidistant apart took a lot of effort, a lot of trial and error. But eventually, we succeeded. So even though it's a curved surface, every detail looks like it's equidistant apart. In actuality, it's not. And then, of course, Nakia, the fearless warrior. She was a challenge because, one, we had to make sure that all of her detail on her outfit was precise and exact. Then, of course, one of the most challenging was her hair. When one might look at her, you might think initially, oh, those are braids, that's easy. No, the actress Nakia is not wearing braids. She is wearing locks. Some people call them dreadlocks. Those are not braids, they're totally different. When we went to our factory to ask for dreadlocks, they told us it did not exist. So we had to work with creating a new fiber, and from the fiber, we had to wrap it in a certain way to create a lock technology. Not only did we have to create the fiber, not only do we have to use a new process, we also had to watch in terms of the dimension, the diameter, and the length. When it comes to dolls, what would look good on a human will look like a rope on a doll. So we had to make sure that every lock was very thin, very detailed, and that the process was impeccable. So much so that this technology is so unique, it is patent pending. You will only find it on a World of EPI doll because we have the patent for mass production.
Which is amazing. And that really is kind of the main thing that the World of EPI is doing here, is doing dolls of people of color in particular. And then people of color have different type of hair than, like myself have, So there's not a lot of dolls out there that have that, and you guys are really very much pioneering this technology to make this into a very toyetic kind of thing.
Yes, we are. And we don't just stop with our Black Panther Wakanda Forever series. All of our dolls have premium hair. So it doesn't matter whether it's straight, wavy, curly, or even if we have afro, it's all going to be very soft and luxurious. Not only that, but if it's straight or wavy, you're actually going to be able to restyle it. Yeah, you got it. You're going to be able to wash it, restyle it into a whole different style. And I'll show you some examples of that later.
All right, so Dr. Lisa, we now have some of the Fresh Squad here, another doll we looked at on the channel recently. Folks who don't know, what is the story with the Fresh Squad?
The Fresh Squad are designed to empower and uplift young boys of color. Typically, they don't see positive representations of them that's authentic, and we wanted to correct that. So that's what inspired me to create the Fresh Squad.
So these guys are really exceptional. Again, talking about your hair technology, I mean, these guys are really showing it off, especially now, look at this afro. That's amazing.
Thank you. And his afro is very soft and it's just luxurious. You want to play with it. And as a matter of fact, to me, most of the hair, it can be like hair therapy because you can just touch it or feel it or just play with it. And it's so calming. It's just relaxing.
One of the cool things also about these was the clothing. And we just looked at Wakanda Forever. Those guys were in some more superhero outfits, but this is more like actual clothing. And that's something that we found pretty interesting too, was the fact that, again, these guys are wearing, pretty cool threads here. And they all are fairly functional as well. That was really impressive to us. I mean, the hoodies actually work. They actually tighten. I mean, I'll let you tell them all about this, but it's some really cool stuff here.
It is. Thank you for that. So you're right. We actually call the Fresh Squad line action figures with fashions because their bodies very much look like action figures. I mean, they have the abs and the lean muscles, so they're very manly. But they have these really cool fashions, thus action figures with fashions. And you are right. They actually have functioning fashions. So the hoodie does indeed work. The hoodie does indeed work. So does their zippers. So the zipper works. And you can feel the material. Once again, feels really nice. There's actually shimmer in the decal on his shirt. All those little details.
And another real standout point about these guys was the articulation too, and that's something we've seen in dolls over the last few years is greater articulation with them. And it's something we've noticed over the years too with a lot of girl-oriented dolls for the most part. Over the years, initially, they were like 5 POA. Today, they got ball joints in the shoulders, they got double jointed knees, and your dolls likewise too have a pretty great range of movement.
And that is intentional because we want kids, in this particular example, boys, to be able to dream and envision what they want to be by playing with their dolls. And it's kind of difficult to do that if you have robotic arms, but if instead you can actually lift the arm and the wrist, then you can imagine your doll doing so many different things and then indirectly imagine yourself becoming and doing so many things. So articulation was mindful and intentional.
Now, one thing I want to talk about, I can't tell if it's like a nitpick from me or whatever, but I did notice that all the faces are actually the same. So that's a good and a bad thing from my perspective. It's like, at first glance, I'm like, oh, they're the same. But then I realized, like, the hair is so different. The skin color is so unique to each of them. The facial hair is a little bit different. So it's like, it took me some time to actually figure that out. And I thought that was a kind of cool thing to do, like, as a cost-effective way to keep making these dolls and not put yourself out of business.
Thank you. Now, I will say we are going to be introducing some new face sculpts. So I will
awesome.
say that. But yes, they all do have the same face sculpt. But because their facial hair and their hairstyles and skin tones, as you just articulated, are so different, it gives them each a unique personality. So they seem to be different face sculpts.
All right, so Dr. Elisa, that was a look at the Wakanda Forever line. That's the Fresh Squad. But I know you guys have a bunch of other things here today at Toy Fair. So what's new with EPI?
Oh my gosh, there's so many new things. Something that's new is Fresh Beats. They were actually nominated for Toy of the Year award. As you know, Black Panther Wakanda Forever won last year, well, Fresh Beats were nominated this year. And Fresh Beats stand for music, and each one of the dolls represent a musical genre. So we have hip hop, pop, rock, K-pop, and country. So like all of our dolls, Fresh Beats have luxurious nylon hair. So I'm going to show you, because it's nylon and such high quality, you can style it and restyle it. So for example, Locks may come in the box looking this way with her beautiful Bantu knots, and you can see they're all around her hair. There's not just in the front, but it's 360. You can take these luxurious, beautiful Bantu knots, style it, and you can create a style like this. For example, this is just one of many styles. And in this particular example, look at that cornrow work. And then look at how beautiful and luscious the curls are.
That is amazing. So that is the World of EPI with Dr. Elisa. A lot of amazing stuff here in this booth. Dr. Elisa, thanks so much for this tour today. This has been awesome.
It's been absolutely my pleasure. Thank you.
And that's it for now from World of EPI here at Toy Fair 2023. But stick around, Nerd News Today. We've got more coverage coming very soon.